First of all, I mean, it's great. It's great, and it's a great role. With a role like this, you have like 7 minutes in the whole evening. It's a great contract, right? Great. But that's the only time you have to make an impact. And so I want to ignore the rest just for a moment.
Lovely. Yep.
Two things that I wish I'd learned way earlier than I did, so I'm going to give them to you and hope that they come of something. The very first thing, we save ourselves so much vocal tax when we steal all of the colours from the pit.
Nice.
And from the orchestral score. It's quite cool, you know. He's coming in, he sat at the back for years and years and watched all the men get to say things, and whether that's, you know, to fight with other guys or be super romantic. And here in this tiny little aria, he's going to use all of those colours that he's copying, that he's heard before. So they're not really coming from his own gut. He's just sort of trying them on for size, which is why the colours change as quickly as they do. But they are always changed for us by the orchestra. So actually we have to do a little bit less, you know, emotional work, which is always wonderful. Lovely triplets.
Thank you.
They were lovely, so that's great. The second chorus, I believed more than the first chorus, but that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Is it okay to stop and start?
Absolutely.
If we go right back to the Que fais-tu, and forget the story, forget everything just for one moment, and as a sort of an exercise, try and fill every bar for me. Give nothing away, because we only have here about 3 minutes and 20 seconds to really show what we can do. And the most important thing is that when we get to the aria, that the public hear the real beauty in the instrument. So we fill every bar as full as we can.
Yeah.
And like don't let that affect your phrase.
Yes.
Because actually in the orchestra pit, it's nearly nothing. It's really hard to hear. So it's up to you to kind of glide like a swan across the top. So if we could just start again, at the Que fais-tu, and I'll stop and start if that's okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
So there are lovely things in it. Two things. When we have, of course, when we're studying anything, we have to learn the rhythms as well as we can. You've learned them, now forget about them.
Nice.
Okay? They're in there, and we won't look at any coaches. They're in there, and it's muscle memory. Now we have to fill the space around them, because I want to hear vocal quality on every single tone.
Yeah.
The public unconsciously are looking simply always for two things: vocal consistency and entertainment.
Yeah.
You're doing them just by being here. Okay, the hard work is all done. So now we have to just fill the space and sing through every note. So for example, you have Que fais-tu was fine, Tourterelle also fine, in fairness. Vautour,
yeah.
I could just be a little bit more, quelques jours. Really just try and sing each one of Troyens. Just give a little bit more voice.
Yes.
I'm not speaking in volume or anything, but just the length of the note, really.
That's fair. Okay.
Lovely. There are some really nice things there. I just wanted to check two little things. I like now the quality of the shorter notes. Nice.
Cool.
Each time we say le, we have to be really careful not to do this.
Yeah.
As native English speakers, it just happens. And especially, in fairness, since COVID, we've all spent a lot more time at home. We're all speaking quite far back, myself included. And in turn, we allow a lot of our vowels to go this way instead of trying to keep them sort of schlank. And le is the only one that happens to you on. So if we can just be a little bit aware not to let the le go like this.
Yeah.
Then, second thing, when we get to the poco animato, so the au vautour, il faut la bataille. The anxiety is absolutely in the piano and it's in the orchestra. So although we've changed the colour, we don't ever let that tax us by giving away too much. Play a little bit more with the colour that's coming, like you're enveloped here in the whole orchestral sound. So although I want you to do change the colour, I liked the colour change, but the energy can be a little bit more affected by what's happening. You know, there's so much staccato, and even the right hand of the piano is really kind of percussive. So let that happen, you don't need to do it. And yet again, here where he changes the colour in the orchestra, before you say laissez-la, there's this one long note, and like this, it's like as if he says, oh yeah, and then I heard this other guy say that thing. You know, Romeo. So the changes between the colours don't need to be so fine and so beautifully dovetailed. This is a little bit more chaotic 12-year-old rather than suave 24-year-old.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Can we try, please, from Tu suivras les amours, just after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. That's wrong bit.
No, you're fine. Don't. You know what? I'm so sorry. Let's just go from where she started. It makes more sense. Au voiture. Nice things in there. On that short note, because I know you can do it so well, and let's pretend we're in Paris, that has to hit the back of the theatre.
Okay.
I don't care what he wrote, it needs to be longer.
Fine. Yeah.
And, you know, not to be super crude, but generally, people are waiting all evening for the high notes.
Yeah.
And you get some, I mean, you only sing for 7 minutes, but you get quite a few.
Yeah.
You know, so take your moment and show off. You're like, yes, I can do this, and it's in tune. Do you hear it? Oh, I would be so proud of myself. You know, we're going to show off a little bit. When we get to the chorus here, he's finally getting to say to these pure enemies, he knows he's safe. His boys are literally standing behind him. So he's like, you absolute idiots. Do you hear me? It has to have that kind of cocky shoulder, like, yes.
Yeah.
I am a grown-up. I am not. I'm only saying this because my boys are standing right behind me.
Yeah.
Completely safe, you know. But to me, the triplets, by the time you get to the triplets, it's nearly like you're bubbling with excitement that you're finally getting to speak because you've stood in silence for years, you know. It's like when you're asked to bring, you know, your little brother along to something. Well, you've been that little brother for such a long time. So that's also why you've got to really enjoy those shorter notes. Can we just go from the Garde bien? I wanted to see, some really exciting things in there, I think, and I believe the character.
Yeah.
You know, I believe you're enjoying yourself. I would absolutely not take that breath before La Nuit.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not right on my ear.
No, I totally agree.
But I can absolutely live with Nuit being shorter. This is another thing, you know, we absolutely crucify ourselves trying to give the value of everything and work everything. If we believe that the phrase is going to go and going to hit the end, so does the public. You know, they're there with us. They want to come with us. Nobody's waiting to see, oh, is she running out of air? What's happening? Nobody's waiting to hear that. And if we are committed enough to the phrase and that the story doesn't end, you know, that we're still engaging the public and everybody else, nobody notices if the note finishes early. You just stay super connected to the energy of the story. It's fine.
Yeah.
And we can absolutely live with it being shorter. There was something else I wanted to say and it has gone right out of my head. Gone. It's gone. It'll come back to me. Can we go cependant? Is that good. Again, some really good things in there. One other thing I should have said, before you do the La Nuit, there's nearly nothing in the orchestra. Yeah. And sometimes, not often, but sometimes in an evening, we have to take the opportunity to pull back as far as we can dynamically so that the public are nearly at the edges of their seats going, is she singing? Is she singing? So that Nuit you can afford to start at nearly nothing and grow to a little, not a lot, but a little. Because then we're even more interested to see what's going to happen in the chorus. I don't want you to repeat that. Now that we have that, okay, and I know you're kind of enjoying yourself, I want to go back to the beginning and do the recit.
Yeah.
And one thing, I mean, and I won't lie, I only discovered this myself maybe last season when I really spent much more time singing in French. We make French much more difficult than it actually is. And we I want to swear, I'm trying to think of a nicer word. We sort of bastardize the language to try and make it fit within our mouths. And what I learned is that it's actually much more simple. And that the French public disagree so much on how things are pronounced anyway, depending on what part of the country they're from, that it is really easier to come at French really with an Italian attitude, with clean vowels and clear vowels, and never to kind of overwork it.
Yeah.
When we have a recit, again, he hasn't sung anything else, right? So you've learned the rhythms are right. The two things we have to give the public from the very beginning, vocal consistency and entertainment. Yeah. Our own emotions and everything aside. Puis, when we have puis, if we let it go this way, we're in trouble already. and we've only done 2 notes. Yeah. So I want you to start, and I just, for the moment, before I say anything too much, just give me the same enjoyment we now have in the aria, in the recit, and I'll stop and start if that's okay.
Yep.
There are some interesting things. I will not do anything technical all evening. I'm just going to say one tiny thing.
Please.
Especially with recit, our want is to go like this to the public. We have no orchestra. Again, we haven't had an opportunity to say anything, so don't rush. And we have to remember at all times to bring the sound back in to go out.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's clear what I've just said, but a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
This isn't a technical thing, but a little bit higher.
Yeah.
For it to come back out, especially in the recit.
Yeah.
Because we have nothing to sort of help the overtones travel right to the back.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is young, so we need to make sure that we're not having to overdarken or give too much energy. It's the very beginning, and we do not want to tax ourselves.
Yeah.
Let us start again. Take a little bit more time.
Okay.
Tiny bit more time. Really enjoy yourself, and possibly a little bit nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he wants to see are all these other grown-up men actually going to listen to him.
Yeah.
Which, you know, would make any of us nervous in the best of days.
Yeah.
Okay. Try that. Close. You know what? It was close. It wasn't until you got to Digne Vallée.
Yeah.
Voyons un peu. If we go peu, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Peu. Peu. This way, yeah.
Okay.
Not peu. It's only the air, so it's not even, you have it placed well, it's all fine. But peu, we all just want to blow the air out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Completely normal. One more time. But I did like it. Sorry. Good.
Yep.
Don't overthink it. It's good. When we go, voyons un peu si vous digne, when we have small notes or any sort of coloratura, we of course want to air them so that people can hear them. Mm. People are going to hear them anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you foghorn, doesn't matter. Their ears are going to hear it. Also because somebody in there is also playing it somewhere along the way, so you're fine. What we cannot ever do is tax ourselves for the teeny tiny notes.
Yeah.
Right? So when we get to that situation and we're thinking, crap, how are they going to hear them? One of two things. Either, again, like I would just tell myself, cheeks, and it just automatically sort of fixes itself. If you feel like you're blowing air out when you have any coloratura, try and pull your fingers together for each note. And do not sing them faster than you can bring your fingers together. However, of course, this generation can text like robots, so their thumbs move quicker than the rest of us. But if you just do that, it just distracts the mind enough to keep the air in. When we go like this, it's very hard for us to pull everything back in and support it to get to the back of the hall. You'll hear it, and possibly the people in the first 10 rows, but we need to be shooting it right to the very back. Can we just do the same thing again, and I'm just going to keep shouting as you sing.
Lovely.
It's fine, it doesn't matter. I know, it is hard, but you see that already. I hear each note and I don't hear the air.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
At the same time, there isn't anybody down the back going, oh, did she miss that demi-semi-quiver?
Yeah.
Am I paying her for that demi-semi-quiver? They are in their hats. Don't worry about it. Let's go. Est-il encore chez vous? Also, don't rush getting from one little sentence to another. Because again, we have 7 minutes all evening. There's 2 acts after this, and we still need them to remember us at the curtain call.
Yeah.
You take your time.
Nice.
Back in. Nice. I would also take a little second before à ma voix ce matin, and then sing matin and let it sit there.
Yeah.
And then retre, do not do that.
Yeah.
Retre, stick a lot more in there, just in your head. Don't change the vowel. Just think it. Just think it. Same again, please. Nice. Back in. Yeah, I can live with that. Let's put the whole rest back together.
Yep.
Retre. Know that, you know, even the smallest of sounds, once it's supported, will travel. So when you're getting to the end of the phrase and we're thinking, oh, I've nothing left in the tank, doesn't matter. Let them listen. There's nothing happening in the orchestra. Everyone is listening. It's a beautiful feeling. You have everybody's attention. So you don't need to give more sound. They're going to come because you have it well supported. It's placed and going back out nice and high. So you're fine. No panic. Do the rest of it for me one more time. There are such beautiful things in there. Now I'm going to torture you a little bit. Let's think a little bit like a cello, and that the bow absolutely never ends.
Yeah.
You have the phrase. All that's happening here is, and I swear it is impossible to hear. So if you don't keep that cello line going, you don't know if you're in tune or not, which is a harrowing experience when it's happening. So you're also helping yourself when you fill in the whole space. Even when there's a rest, you still have the phrase, so you can't let that drop. And I'm not saying it's an eye contact thing. The public don't always love eye contact. Excellent, you scare them. But you have to try and keep the attention so that the phrase continues. So for the moment, forget the rests.
Yeah.
And you fill it in for me.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't have to be loud, but it has to be intentional.
Okay, so bowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real cello, like sexy cello. Yeah, he wants to be a double bass, but he's only a cello, you know.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I love that I'm getting the same consistent vocal quality. Yeah. Give me that with the same line. Do not over darken or round anything. Yeah. We're a baby cello. We're not yet a lush cello. You know what, actually? You keep bowing, but give me a Disney level energy underneath that. Nice. You know? I don't mean anything by that except for the energy coming from here, like that Disney level kind of what's going to happen.
Nice.
With your cello.
Okay, with the cello.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Disney. What then? And now, what? Okay, anything else? There's so much good stuff in there now. I don't understand. They sound great, so I'm not even going to ask. I don't know where those triplets are coming from. For me, there'd have to be something happening. I don't see it, but they're happening.
I try not to, I just don't think
Good,
about them.
that's absolutely fine. They're happening and it's good. When you get to the laissez-la, I think sometimes, no, 99% of vocal issues are just because the air is stuck somewhere. It's fine in the practice room, it's fine in the coaching to think, okay, I'll walk up against a wall and I'll find it. In a performance, what are we going to do? For me, I tell myself, okay, we're back in primary school and I have to sell a Disney level energy. And that energy for me always comes from here.
Yeah.
And I think what's important to remember is that even if when we have like a romantic phrase or something, we still have to bring that same excitement and energy to this kind of suaveness that he thinks he has, which he's nowhere near. And I think, it will keep the colour all the time really exciting and vibrant without you changing anything at all to make that lush line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Could we try laissez-la, just where the colour changes? So you have the long note just before you. Excitement. It's so close. It's so close. Do not go but it's really good. So give me the same again, and we'll just keep it schlank. But the energy and it's all right. It's all good.
Cool.
All the right vowels. I like it. I'm so close. Can you pant for me just once? I cannot figure. And can you do it a little bit? I'm sorry. I won't touch you. But if I do it, it's here.
Yeah.
And if I do it from here, it's different. It's a bit slower.
Yeah.
But if you have this kind of, I can talk like this. I talk like that all the time. But it's this other level of like, oh my god. Yes. And it's a very light excitement. Let's not call it a pant, but that excitement and energy from here as well as here will help to keep things like, oh my god, do you know what's happening next? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that, just that little extra level of energy. It's the last time I'll make you do that same thing.
Okay.
Yes, you absolutely can. Yeah. But you notice it, so that's fine. That's good. And laissez-la, like a little bit like you've been to the dentist and your jaw just isn't working. But it's not. It doesn't need to be more thought about than that. It's so good now, but you cannot do any of those slides.
Yeah.
Because the French will just be allergic. I get it, I understand it, and the musical idea is beautiful.
Yeah.
And bring that energy from one note to the next, where we cannot.
Yeah.
They'll just shoot you.
Yes.
but I like the intention.
Okay.
So let's just go from the start of that verse.
Yeah.
But it's all good, it's all good. Energy. Good. I'm going to stop you. Good. Listen, it's on such a level now. Forget absolutely everything I said, first and last of it. And now, in this second verse, I want you to make up some astronomically cool story in your head. We will not know what it is.
Nice.
I want you to sell me something, anything, but sell me something interesting.
Yeah.
And it has to be different than the first verse.
Yeah.
Again, they're going to sit through another 90 minutes. We need them to remember us at the curtain call.
Yeah.
Yeah? Nobody can read your mind. Nobody knows what that story is. So make up something that's interesting to you if that's enough to make the colours come fresh or whatever.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, sell me something.
Okay.
Anything.
Anything. Okay.
Oh, sorry, from the start of that second verse. So a tempo one again, please. It's okay. You heard it though. So that's excellent. That is excellent. And you know, let's think we're somewhere really expansively wide.
Yeah.
I mean, Paris is wild. It's like I mean, it's huge. It's like a football pitch.
Yeah.
So think like that. I need you to tell everybody, not just the 6 men in front of us. You know? Yeah. Thank you very much. Good. I'm so sorry, I keep stopping you before you ever get to the end. To me, that was believable. I found other colours in it. I thought, here we go, we have something fresh. Excellent. I'm married into all of that. You have 2 endings that you're making very difficult for yourself. They're nos and no. I can't. Was it résonant? I'm not sure. Anyway, we look at the endings, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now we have the gift of the second chorus. The conductor's finally trusting us. He knows we've got lots of personality, we have colours, we have things to sell. He will give you, or she will give you more time.
Yeah.
So you take your time. You were thinking only of the curtain call that comes in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
This is your last chance, because after this you've like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Right? Take your time in between. You can even break the phrases in half if you have enough colours like what you have now.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we go cependant en le doux aussi vrai ce For me, again, there are really interesting things. Still, if it was me, I'd take a little bit longer in between each one of those. The other thing is you react so well to each other, you have to realize that you are setting up the orchestra. If you go, gardez bien, the orchestra are there behind you. You have to take your time, drive the car, everybody is with you and waiting. And it's only going to last for another 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? Have I time to do? No. Crap. Okay. But listen, it's very impressive. It's all very clean. And for me, and you could see in the public also, it's interesting when you pump those colours into it.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Natasha Agarwal, and this is Max Bilbe, and we would like to perform for you Nel grave tormento from Mozart's Mitridate Re di Ponto.
so interesting. It's such a cool role, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a character. Oh my goodness. I wrote down 2 or 3 things because this is quite long and I didn't want to forget. Let's skip the rest of it for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 things. When Mozart was such a genius and he wrote for characters rather than for their instruments. So when he met these women and was interested in them, he wrote around them. And sometimes that meant that he wrote vulnerable things, especially in this, there are some very low places, but you have to remember when he wrote, especially a low do, a low C somewhere, he wants it to be vulnerable. So we don't need to search for chest or mix or anything. He wants her to be on her knees in trouble here. And he does that often, you know, Vitellia's the same, Fiore de Ligi, all these people that he wants to also show that although they have power and backbone, they're absolutely broken. So we don't need to, luckily, we actually don't need to find more instrument or noise there. Also, with some of these piano reductions, it's so difficult for the pianist, but in the orchestra, it's like, there's very little, and we have to kind of use and abuse that a little bit to save ourselves from taxing us. So that's just an overall thing.
Okay.
Let's just start and we'll start and stop,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
From the aria.
Yes, please. Good. It's beautiful, and I like that you're trying to join the phrases together. Do me a favor and think of in your a vowel, because when you do that beautiful jump from seno, I hear all the time a really kind of schlank but full vocal quality.
Okay, yeah.
When we have something like this, an a vowel, you know, we spend our whole lives trying to make a bright a, then we find the a and it's too bloody bright. We find an a vowel, it's really important, not that we change it, but that we think in our heads and all that does is round it for some weird reason in our mouths. I don't know what the reason is, but it works. And this is also going to be applicable when we get to the man ka, which is why I want you to have that already in your head.
Yeah.
So just start for me one more time, little
Yeah.
in your a. Thank you. It's so close to being perfect. You also then have to make sure that when we get to prime, that I, you have a very interesting bone structure. My God, great microphone. But that even inside, that we don't let the I do this and spread, that we keep it prime. And when I say don't spread something, I never ever mean that we have to kind of over brighten it or darken it or do anything to it. I'm just saying that we try and keep things on the bones and really in the middle of the mouth. And it's only from our speaking voices as English speakers that we say E this way, so it spreads a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
But I loved the in your a. For me,
really
that worked. Beautiful.
One more
Same
time?
thing again. Sorry, thank you. are some really beautiful things in there. When we have any coloratura, especially like this where the rhythms change within it, we have to repeat the vowel over and over. I'm not saying to aspirate it, there's no need to go or anything, but we have to think ah. Because if we don't repeat the vowel, because the air is moving within the bone structure like this, and the air's moving all the time, the air can also have an effect on how the vowel sits in the mouth. And we have to think in our heads each time.
Okay, yeah.
You have this beautiful now with the in. I love that. The interesting thing with you, it automatically does that the higher you go. So it just means that even though it might sound absolute pants to you, the sensation is what we're looking for, but the sound that comes out is perfect. And that's, of course, what the audience have paid for. And when we get to performance stage, it doesn't matter what we hear. It's absolutely about the performative experience that they're going to get. So can we just go back? Is it very difficult to start just where the coloratura starts, the manca? And repeat the vowel. There's no law against breathing. I don't know if any coach is going to disagree with me there. There's no tax on air, so you breathe wherever you want to breathe, because vocal quality is always better than, being able to hold the line for as long as possible. So yes, let's do manca, please, with your It's so good. Then you have to sing cor. It can't be cor. So think in your o. And that'll because the rest of it is so spot on that then my ear goes, whoa, what happened?
What was that?
I'm not going to make you repeat it because it's going to come again, and we'll just remember that cor. We'll keep going.
Okay.
So sorry. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I was trying to wait for a mannerly place to stop. Okay, when it changes like this, the very first thing we have to do is hunt down the phrase.
Okay.
So there's all this tension and madness happening in the pit, and we have to float like this right across the top. It's not a volume thing. It's never a volume thing. But we have to keep the line from one end to the other and let the orchestra do all of the hard work. So the anxiety has started without us. You float right along the top with clean vowels that are held together like the bow of a violin or a cello or whatever instrument you want to think about. So just start that again. Let him do all the work, and you float along the top. Join every note to each other.
Okay.
Good. Okay, next thing. What we have to do, because it's so exciting, and it's all we want to do is give, and then we're up shit creek. So what we have to do is make sure, especially from this first alfiero contrasto, in the orchestra, when it gets bassy like this, there's nothing, and you usually find yourself walking along the pit like this going, oh my God, am I in tune? There's really nothing, and you have to trust that you can sing a lot less, but energetic. You have great, contrasto are great consonants. The trick everybody into believing they have actually heard what you've said. Do not tax yourself, because what we actually want to hear is the coloratura. Alfiero contrasto, and then the same right back down, and really don't give anything away because we have so far to go.
Yeah.
It's too early to burn out.
Okay. Yeah.
So pull it right back, dynamic wise,
Yeah.
but keep that energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it possible to go from just the bar before al fiero contrasto? Good. I just wanted to see if you could make it to the end, which you did, which is only, that's such a feat to your actual fitness. However, if we come back to the same place, al fiero contrasto, and I want you to do a little bit like what I was speaking earlier, bring it back into yourself to go out.
Okay.
What I'm saying, when I say that, I simply mean that we can't let the air go, al fiero contrasto, you go, al fiero contrasto, that the sound is going out, but the air is really here. We're keeping, can you pant? Can you pant slightly higher? Yeah, good. We're going to join the two of those together. You can do that. Don't think about it again, but it's that level of energy where we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Am I going to actually explode?
Yeah.
So it has to be that level of kind of excitement. The tension and the anxiety is in the pit.
Okay. Yeah.
So you do not need to carry that, and we
Yeah.
don't need to sell it. It's been done for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do the exact same thing again, and I will keep shouting this time. Thank you. A little bit of energy. Good, I'm going to stop you. The other thing that I should have said, sorry. We are in control all the time of the tempo.
Yeah.
And it is up to us that if we get in trouble and we need to pull the tempo back a little bit, almost every time you have an upbeat, you take your time on the upbeat. The conductor they'll all know, everybody's listening.
Yeah.
And they will know, oh, okay, but it's up to you to do that.
Yeah.
Because when you go, da, 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 they're also speeding up to help you because they think that's what you want. So it's really important that we take the control of that at all times.
Okay. Yeah.
But the other things were good. So let's do the same thing again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do this one relaxed. A line. It's so close that when that happens where you think, oh, but my air is getting a little bit high, and then you have staccato, the only thing you can do, you're going to sing it in tune, it will be in tune, so you think down at all times.
Yeah.
Like literally steps down like this. Because if we do staccato and we've learned to do it like this, the air is only going to come out of our earlobes.
Yeah.
It's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Same thing again, but I'm marrying into the idea now that you get it.
Okay.
So relaxed. And think down. Same again. Down. Better. And calm. Now they change the colour, they change it. We don't have to do it. Good. They make all the line, you just float on top. It's fine. I should have stopped you anyway. Okay, there's some really good, interesting things. When we get the opportunity to repeat anything like this from Mozart, we have to think, what's happening? Are we crying? Are we laughing? Are we suicidal? Are we delighted? Are we something? But we have to be something, and that something will drive the energy that's going to help us. Because at this stage, you've run half a marathon. And we're lagging.
Yeah.
Completely normal.
Yeah.
Absolutely, completely normal.
Yeah.
So let's just pretend this is almost crying, okay?
Yeah.
It's really, really important that we start to learn to get used to the sensation and not the sound.
Yeah.
Because the better it sounds in our head, the less travels out.
Yeah.
And the sensation, although me personally is quite Mickey Mouse at times, is definitely something that we can trust, you know, at the top of your health, on a good day, on a bad day, whatever. The sound will always change. So in general, it's something we have to start to trust.
Yeah.
Let us start this again. I'm just going to shout the whole time now,
Yeah.
okay? Okay. I liked your in the gra. That was good. Thank you. Nel gre. Cry, cry. Each note. Prime, dice. So close to being really good. It has to mean something. Every single note of the coloratura has to mean something.
Yeah.
Let's just cry.
Yeah.
Forget about everything else. I don't care what's happening.
Yeah.
And manke, really think
Yeah.
and cry every single one of them.
Okay.
The crying, all that does is bring this back to life
Yeah.
when we are sort of struggling. Because when we have a longer phrase and we want to try and hold the air, all that happens for some weird reason is the air escapes, which is horrific.
Yeah.
But we have all been there and it's completely natural and
Yeah.
normal. So give me tears, real tears. Can we just go from manka, is that you, with your Cry, cry now. Nice. Oh, it's so hard. Now float. So close, but you gave it out.
Yeah.
I like the colour, I like the energy, but bring it in. The orchestra's doing all of the work for you.
Yeah.
Remember that if it doesn't stay up here, it's not going to go past the 20th row.
Yeah.
And when you're in a theatre that, 2,500 people, it has to go right to the back
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
But the colour and the vowels were absolutely right. Just put it up here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. One more time from the allegro, please. Now, shh. Sing every note. Ta, 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 I'm going to stop. It's so close, but you know what? You didn't take the tempo back when you had 3 opportunities there.
Yeah.
When the last chance you have is this estrazia. If you go estrazia, estrazia, they will slow down. Everybody will give you a second to just place it in, because the most important bit is the coloratura.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we go al fiero contrasto? These do not matter, throw them away. You're only colouring in on top of a phrase that the orchestra has already started.
Yeah.
So this is just a little sort of cherry on the cream that's already happening all around.
Okay.
So no tax.
Yeah.
Let's sing every note, yeah? time. Down. Down. Close. Good, good. Look, all of these arias are written that he wants. I mean, I'm saying like Mozart wanted. What do I know what Mozart wanted? It wasn't that we were best of pals. However, he's definitely leading all the time. There's this kind of frantic energy, but he did all of the work for us, and we have to trust that all of the colours coming out of the pit are going to help us build from here, and that there's no anxiety here, right? Yeah. When we have something like this, it's in the exact same that's going to happen in the parto parto. When we have something like this, we have to what's the word where you don't rush yourself? Like, we have to find our stamina, and we have to figure out where we're going to give and where we're going to pull back a little bit, give ourselves a little break. I promise you, if you slow down that coloratura, the orchestra will come with you. It's really not an issue, and it is better to take your air, give yourself a second, and give us clean coloratura. Have I? Oh, excellent. If we go back, al fiero contrasto, and what I want you to do this time is make yourself uncomfortable with how much time you take before you start a new phrase. I'm so sorry, this is going to be torture for you. But just really give yourself time to get rid of the air and take in new air. Okay? Yeah. And al fiero, you know, it's not linguistically always great, but you can give a little bit more away in the consonants, so you're saving the tax on the instrument for the coloratura. Slow it down. Da, 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 da. I'm going to stop. You know, the other, sorry, and I should have said this at the very beginning. The other thing we cannot do when we have coloratura is I understand the little aspiration, I get it, but we cannot let that H let us go, ha 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 ha, and that we give it away. Yeah. If we're going to ha 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 ha, it still has to be that this energy is going on, and that we're not reliant on the H that's happening here to make the coloratura. Your coloratura is going to happen anyway. The muscles are amazing, and it'll eventually become muscle memory. So I would sooner not hear every note clearly and know that you're bringing it back in and onto the microphone than hear the H's and be afraid it's going to go that way. Sorry, now this is like masses of stuff to say, but no, it's worth it. It's worth it. Same place. Energy. Take your time. Better. Energy from your middle, say is that there's so much happening in the pit, and it's forte piano. You do not need to give nearly as much instrument at the end. Sadly, obviously, everyone's waiting for that second last note. Doesn't matter what text is on it, I couldn't care less. Give me an and make sure it rings. But save yourself before that. Our gut is going to tell us, sing now, here we go, we're nearly at the end, do you hear me? But just pull it all back a little bit, because the orchestra's doing all the work. Can we just do that very last estrazia, just the very last one? Sorry, is that really difficult? Take your time. Honestly, I know it sounds ridiculous. And I'm not saying that the other notes aren't important, but what is important is that we protect the money note. And I think always the way to do that is in the build-up. However, when you have a phrase like this, you know it's going to be repeated twice. Get rid of the first one. And if you have to end it early to let all the air out to go again, that's fine. Nobody cares. All the action is in the pit.
Yeah.
And once you're connected with the colour they're giving, nobody will notice, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, we've spent years trying to learn how to sing, how to technically make everything function, and yet nobody tells us then how to really make chamber music with the musicians in the pit. And it's so important that we involve them in every step, because it will save you so much tax.
Yeah.
That it's actually, it's a wonderful experience. I think this suits you very well, and I'd be really interested to hear the rest of the role. I think it's really great. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you. So Max and I would like to perform Parto Parto.
Excellent.
Parto
Excellent. What an aria.
Just have some water.
Please, 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 please. Okay. Mozart. Obvious genius, yeah? Goes without saying. However, in this, he's taken 5 sentences and repeated them 600 times. Right. Important things to remember. Sesto, although the older of the 2 boys slightly, is still very young. He has taken on here with a much older woman. He's not only in love, but he's infatuated in a kind of unhealthy and wonderful way that's happened to everybody, I'm sure, but it is not good. And he has almost no control anymore over his emotions. There is nothing he wouldn't do for her. If he could peel off his skin and give it to her, he would do that. I think, for me, the whole thing could afford to be a little bit brighter.
Okay.
Because he is younger. And this is one of those magic roles that nobody, I hope and pray, will ever say, oh, you know, you're a bit old for this. It doesn't happen with this character, because the more you learn in life, the more there is to bring to him. And we've seen colleagues that, you know, have maybe made their sesto debut in their late 20s, early 30s, and they go on to sing it right through to the end of their career, because there's always something to bring to it. So when we start with it, we have to start bright, so as it has somewhere to go and grow.
Yeah.
However, rather than change anything you're doing, just like we had before, I think you should just add a little to your and it is going to brighten it by itself.
Okay.
Anytime he repeats something, it is because she is literally 3 foot in front of him, and she is in front of him, and he is begging her just to look at him one last time. And what he is going to go off and do is horrific.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hardcore bad, but he's sold. He is going. But he just needs that one last thing. So there's a huge amount of desperation in it. And desperation, luckily for us, has a very wide colour palette.
Yes.
So we can paint away till our heart's content. You stop and start. I mean, you start and I'll start and stop you.
Okay.
In your ah. Yeah. So close. There's interesting things there already. When we repeat parto, it has to be different.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are creating the colour. This doesn't happen very often, but we are creating the colour that the orchestra has to answer in, and they're all waiting. It's also kind of cool because you can change it every night and see if they come with you. But we have to change it. So whether the first one's aggressive and the second one's like, I am going, you know, whatever. The best thing you can do though is make sure that whatever your second parto is, that you're setting yourself up for a swan-like float over the next little phrase. So I would probably go hard, go soft, and then go easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And mio, try and think, don't change anything, just try and think a little bit higher. It'll also stop any chest mix, because here we need to show his vulnerability.
Okay.
There's nothing happening in the pit.
Okay.
Up. It's so close though, but I can see already in your ben that you're getting darker. Ben mio. You know, it's almost racist to say to make fun of somebody, but you really are in your head thinking of a very, you know, like an Italian summer market, and they're trying to sell you something. And it's this really bright sound that they have that we just do not have as English speakers. So we do have to, I don't want to say fake it, but we certainly have to imitate a little bit that brightness.
Yeah.
It's way brighter than we'll ever be comfortable with doing. And I promise you it sounds better to us than it does in your head.
Okay.
But I liked your partos.
Do you want to do those again? Or?
Yeah, go on. something new. Maybe she didn't hear. Didn't work. Try something new. Nice. Up. Try again. Up, up. New. New again. Good. Okay, so for me now, there's some absolute believable things in this. I have found the vocal quality that I want to hear, so now I want to hear that all the time. Your quell is stupendous.
Oh, I used to find that really hard.
It is, it's crap. It's crap. It's
Right
just
in
crap.
the place you don't want to sing that word.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But for us, it sounds epic. So we need to put everything there.
Okay.
Even though it might feel a little bit crap. Quel che vorrai, and then you go faro. You're over darkening that only because the E of your rai is going this way at the back. So, and in general, most of those things happen the syllable before
Yeah.
our problem.
Yeah.
So I want you to do, of course, it's all the same. Meco ritorna in pace. We'll go from there. The
Okay, before
third one.
sarò. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, when you get to the sarò, da, 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 because, I mean, this is really quite unusual. And realistically, it's a full-on duet. And the clarinet is absolutely as important, if not more important, because that lucky bugger gets to change colours much more often than you ever get to change text.
Yeah.
And so we're dependent on what he or she colours in the evening for what we float across the top. So it's always better then in practice to make sure that we have an amazingly sleek sound across the top, because then we can swap and change depending on what they've offered us
Yeah.
each evening.
Okay.
Let's do, Meco ritorna in pace. Ritorna. Up. Nice. Nice. Same again. And C. Nice. And go up. But it was so close. It was really close. It was really close. Just do exactly from there, because it's really, it's top. Yeah, whichever one of those you want. You know what? The second one was better than the first or the third. And I think it's because your rolling of the R's is putting you a little bit this way. So we fix the I of I now. Keep the R really far forward.
Okay. Yes.
And let's just try that one more time, because your quell is like top notch.
Okay.
And that way again. Same again. Quell. keep going. Then listen to this line. So you float across the top of that, yeah? Tell her again. Does she react? Does she react? Nothing. Nothing. C pens. Good. It's really good. You can't hold that N so long. I understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Ben said I get it, but no.
It was too much.
Yeah, but I understand. The second one of those has to be different.
Yeah.
But it's very good. It's very good. Let's go. We'll just do the same again.
Okay.
From this section. Guardami. Tell her again. Nothing. It's so close. When you go, I understand, I get it, that has to come from here. And always big emotions come from your belly and never, ever the chest or the throat.
Yeah.
So from here, you know, he doesn't want to cry, but he's on the brink at all times because she's driving him out of his little mind. Okay, let us do di quello. Yes, perfect. And it's here all the time. And that same brightness. Nice. Come on. Good. New tact. Change your colour. Line from your belly. And beg. Did it work? That's so close to being really brilliant, but we have to come from above. Guardami.
So hard.
I know, but this is terrible. Have you ever seen the Family Guy episode where they think they can speak Italian? No.
No.
Okay,
no.
and you're probably too young. But it's all this really bright and a little bit higher and full energy that comes from here.
Yeah.
When we get to this guardami, it is so important that not your heart breaks, but every heart out here absolutely shreds. And the power in that is when we have full control. If we come from underneath, it's harder to know if we have enough support here and if we've placed it well. If we come from above, we know it's sitting right on the microphone and we can do with it what we need to do, whatever that might be of an evening. Guarda, so it's just in your head, you've a higher and even though it's a little painful and a little bit annoying to talk like that, if you do a little bit of that before you do the aria, it'll automatically go up there.
Guardami.
Yeah, lovely. Oh,
Okay.
beautiful.
First, guardami or
That's too easy. Let us go. Sarò qual più ti piace. That was close. Piace. Tell her. know what? It doesn't matter. It sounds better to us.
Okay.
Because I can see here from you, you're like, will I let it go up or will I not? If you trust that and you sit it up here, you can let them sit on this amazing piano because nobody else is playing. The clarinet has decided to be quiet, so you don't have to entertain anybody else but yourself, and you can decide of an evening what you want to do with it. I know it's an awful feeling, but the sensation is right.
Okay.
And also, you know, you have a little bit of power here because nobody else is playing anything. Fado, silence. And then you're like, look at me. It didn't work. We have to try softly, softly. I know it's vulnerable, but it's worth it.
Okay.
Same again, please. Nothing. Nothing. Take your time here. Come with me. Tell her again. Ground yourself. Float. Float. Let them do the work. Oh, this hurts. This way. Good. There are so many good things in there, right? That then we are going to hear if anything happens where we change this schlank, beautiful, consistent delivery, right? When we get to the end and we're absolutely pooped after all of this coloratura and we've no air, we shorten notes. Because when we're up here, there's nobody that can shout and say, oh, I thought that was a crotchet. If it is a quaver, it's a quaver. And you can be happy. We just had all this coloratura. Doesn't matter, okay?
Okay.
I understand when we're studying things, we have to have them exactly. However, we have to save ourselves in the evening. And so if that means then that you get to the end of the coloratura, I would definitely shorten the belta, for example. They're two crotchets.
Which one?
These two at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Shorten them, crotchet each, then you take your time.
Oh, yeah.
And then you float across the top.
Because when I get to that, I'm
wrecked. Yeah, and which is completely normal, you know.
Yeah.
The other thing you get here, and this is your start, so you're like in third gear to get ready again to go back into fifth gear for the end. You have to hear brighten everything again. So you stick a lot of in your because if we have here we're snookered.
Yeah.
Okay, is it really cruel to do the triplets?
No, I'd love
Right.
to.
I can tell. Let's do guardami tutto oblio. Oh, sorry. You know what? Last thing. Obviously, the coloratura is repeated, so it has to be slightly different. And it can be different however you want, but the last one needs to be panty, because if it's not panty from here, we're out of energy.
Yeah.
So for whatever emotional reason, make it this way so that it's yeah.
Okay.
Also, not that we're cheating, but the clarinet is holding most of the weight of the triplets the whole way up. So when you have them, you just float across the top, and it is going to take much less energy. When you're singing it like this, it is slightly different, and I understand that. But keep that in the back of your head, because in a big evening, you wouldn't have to do all the work by yourself. Okay. Take your time. Yeah, to me, that's top notch.
Very tiring.
I know. And, you know, realistically, it's the this and then the first act finale are the only kind of taxing moments on him. It's really important here that you have decided on 90% of your colours before the show, because it is very emotional. You know, so you have to kind of protect yourself a little bit. The other thing that I didn't mention, and everybody has trilled here this evening, what is a trill? It's the big question, yeah? When we're here and we're kind of alone, of course we want to go dee 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 bidly, fine. However, in an evening, it is really important that we do not tax ourselves over a trill. Nobody's paying you enough money for that. You do it twice and you let it go, and whatever comes out is miraculous. Okay? In general, the muscles are going to learn to do this, and they will eventually start to trill. It's so exciting when it just sort of happens. But what you cannot do is afford to spend any energy of an evening trying to go because it's just a waste of time and nobody can hear it. Our ears are going to tell us, if I hear those two notes twice, I think you've done it. So do not panic over it. Obviously, it's something you can put into your practice, but it is not worth killing yourself over, because the muscles eventually take it on by... It's pure magic, really. There's no exercise for it except to keep doing it, you know. But do not worry about it of an evening, because you lose air and a little bit of placement.
Okay.
So it's just a bit random. But yeah, for me, that's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.